Okay, let's do this. Okay, so you guys, many of you may have seen on Instagram, I asked you about a bunch of questions that you guys might have, and I'm gonna do a little Q&A here. Hopefully the video will be short. I'm gonna answer as many questions as I can, but let's get started. So our first question from my good friend Eden is, would you ever come back to visit Aberdeen? So a lot of you may not know, I was born in Edina, Minnesota, but I grew up most of my life in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Aberdeen was, I guess to put it lightly, an interesting place, very small town, but that's where I started my swimming career, my journey with my family. We've been living in Lawrence, Kansas for the last maybe 7 or 8 years. And so I don't know, Eden, maybe we'll come back. Maybe we'll come do the state meet in Aberdeen one year, or come do some clinics up there. But I'm not sure. I do a lot of traveling this year, and so the likelihood of me being back in Aberdeen, South Dakota this year is probably 0. But maybe in the future. It'd be good to go back to Aberdeen. On to the next question from Lily. Okay, so Lily asked, did I grow up playing other sports? I did. I played soccer, basketball. Better at soccer than I was at basketball. But I grew up doing a lot of stuff. Super active. Swimming's where my heart was at. It's where I was gifted. It's where I was really talented. That's what I ultimately stuck with. The next couple questions all have to do with school, and so I'll kind of group them together. But the first one is from Francis Barosa. Did you ever go to school? So I did. I went to public school up until about 5th grade. Ever since then I've been doing it virtually, or at least homeschooled. I started out with an academy called Abeka. It was a Christian online curriculum, long reading, like hour lectures, super boring, like I hated it. And then we switched to K-12, which was something we were doing when we were in Aberdeen, South Dakota. And then when we moved to Lawrence, I went on to do Liberty University Online Academy, which is it's an online virtual academy based out of Lynchburg, Virginia. There's a university called Liberty, which is amazing. I actually got to, when I graduated with my sister, we went to Virginia, we had our commencement speech, we had a big full-on graduation ceremony. And so yeah, I've been virtual schooled since 5th grade. And really that gave me the ability to travel, to do what I love, to train weird hours, to sleep in, go to school in my pajamas. It was pretty cool. So I loved it, but definitely there was a little bit of sacrifice that came with it, which leads us to our next question, which is from Owen asking, would you suggest doing online school? It depends, which is kind of a vague answer. So for me, it was a really clear option because I traveled so much, I'd miss a lot of schoolwork, I'd always be having to make it up. The training made it really difficult because obviously swimming was a huge priority in my life. Education was massive, right? So for some, you have to be in a school program, you learn better from a teacher. For me, I was very independent and I was able to learn online. I was disciplined and it didn't come naturally. Yeah, there was some stages where it was easy to procrastinate and not do my schoolwork because it was virtual and so there wasn't as much accountability. But if you're the type of athlete or person that feels like you know what you want in life and where you're going and you believe you can motivate yourself internally to stay educated, do it. Online school is amazing, gives you so much flexibility. And then the other side is like social aspect. One thing I missed out a lot of was obviously that group of high school friends that you grow up with. But because I travel so much and because of where I am in my swimming career, I have so many great friends around me and a community of athletes that I'm always with, and people locally, so I didn't miss out on the social side. So that's kind of my answer for that. And then we go into the next one, which is from Patrick. Patrick asks, if you were to go and swim for a college, what would be your #1 pick? My #1 pick would probably be Texas, so UT, Hook 'em Horns. I have a lot of buddies that have gone to Texas. I have a lot of buddies that are there, have committed. I love the coach. Coach Reese is amazing. I think they do a great job of just caring for their athletes. But as many of you guys know, the way I train is so unique that I really couldn't go and swim for a university because it would just kind of ruin me, at least mentally, because I know what we do and I believe in what we do. But I don't know. That's what I would do. Also, being a professional athlete, I'm not allowed to swim for a university because I've accepted money and endorsements and things like that. which I'd much rather take over swimming at a college where you're racing yards over long course, which actually leads us into our next question. His question comes from Joey, asking short course yards or long course meters. I am 100% long course meters, and here's why. Short course yards is only swum in the US, only swum in the college system. No one else in the world does it. They swim short course meters or long course meters. For me, the Olympics is long course meters, World Championships is long course meters, short course meters, things like that. And so there's not a lot of points to swim short course yards unless all you care about is national records or NCAA titles. And for me, that's just not really a big deal. Obviously, I raced a lot of yards when I was younger, and that was cool, that's good. There's opportunities to race and learn how to race. But in the long run, long course meters is where it's at. That's also partially why I accepted becoming a professional athlete over any sort of NCAA program, because it just doesn't make sense to put 4 years of my life into racing yards when ultimately it doesn't get you a lot of places. Okay, let's go inside for the last couple questions. It's getting hot. Man, it's hot outside. Kansas summertime is that's hot, especially in your black shirt. Okay, so for the last couple questions, Lindy asked, do you ever get tired of swimming? There was a point in my career where I became so focused on the results and I put so much pressure on myself to perform that ultimately I wore myself out because I felt like I constantly had to reprove myself, and I became so sick of training, sick of the swimming and putting in so much effort and not getting anything out. And this kind of leads us into our next question, which is a follow-up onto your question, Lindy, is from Team Michelangelo. How do you stay motivated? So for me, when I got in a place where I was kind of feeling down and pretty dark around swimming, what really helped me, and this is a personal thing, I went and spoke to mentors, family, and what I learned was to not be defined by my sport, but most importantly, go back to the beginning and find out, okay, why did I do it in the first place? Why did I start swimming? Why do I love it? And what I realized going back to that is I realized, I love the sport for the joy that it brings me when I go fast, right? But now as I get faster and faster, I continue to put this pressure on myself to break records, to do all these crazy things. But what is that? Yeah, that's exciting, but the thing is, I realized that doesn't last that long. That lasts a weekend and there's a lot of hype and excitement, but then the next week you have to step up again and you have to reprove that you can do that over and over. And it just shows you how fickle people are, especially that's why I don't read swim blogs, I don't read the comments, things like that, because there's so much negative stuff coming out. But you have to be able to, in a dark place like that, go back and understand, why do you swim? What's the purpose behind it? If you know why you do something, the how and putting other things in place comes naturally. So that's what I would do to help you kind of stay motivated. And also, you guys see here, these are goals. I set up goals I put them all over the house. Set attainable goals. Come up with a game plan. Know your strategy. Be involved in your sport. And I think that's part of what separates professional athletes from recreational athletes, is they are deliberate with what they do. And that helps keep you motivated. So I hope that helps answer your question. Okay, 2 more questions, guys, and then we're done. KK Mortensen asks, what's your middle name? So my middle name's Charles. I have 3 first names, Michael, Charles, Andrew. Confuses a lot of people. Most people call me Andrew or whatever, but I'm named after my great-great-grandfather who died at 101 years old. So pretty cool, but that's Grandpa Charles. And then Alec Tamarov, 2002, last question, asks, what is your favorite movie? So I travel a lot, as you guys know, as I've mentioned. And when I travel, I watch a lot of movies. But I think my favorite is between these top 2. So I really love Braveheart. Just the story and the plot line is a classic, really. And then Dead Poets Society is incredible. It's if you guys want to watch a movie ever, watch Dead Poets Society. There's so many incredible lessons that can be learned from the film, and I just think it's a beautiful story. So yeah, that's me, and thank you for joining me in the Q&A. Thank you guys who commented on my last Instagram post for this Q&A. I will definitely be doing more of these in the future, so please keep the questions coming. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question, but I'll be sure to get to it next time. I'm actually going to be flying off to France to race in the Mare Nostrum. Mare Nostrum stop is Cannes, Barcelona, Monaco, and then I get to have dinner with the Prince and Princess of Monaco before flying home. So I'll be sure to vlog to keep you guys in the loop of that. But there probably won't be many vlogs during that trip. I'll probably do a couple interviews with some of the athletes that are there, because there's going to be a lot of really fast athletes there. And yeah, when I get back, I'll do something cinematic and pretty cool to entertain you guys. So I hope you enjoy the vlogs. Thank you for joining me on this episode of whatever Q&A. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.